Hello, good morning, everyone. Um, I wanted to start by asking you a question. Have you ever been talking to someone and halfway through your story you realize they were really listening? Maybe they were looking at their phone, thinking about what they wanted to say next, or they interrupt you before you even finished. How did that make you feel? I think we all experience that same some point. It can be frustrating because we all wanted to feel heard. So today I wanted to talk about something we do every day but often don't think much about listening. So most people think listening is easy because it seems automatic, but and we hear people talking all the time, but hearing and listening are not the same thing. Hearing is simply noticing the sounds, and listening means paying attention on it. So, understanding the message and responding in the thoughtful way, that is called the listening. But if you don't listen, you just say yes, 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 and that's not the listening. That's just like we like we like not listening to the people good. So good listening is one of the most important communication skills because it helps us build stronger relationships with family, friends, classmate, or co-worker, colleague at your work. So I did not always realize how important listening was. So there have been times where I was so busy thinking about what I wanted to say that I wasn't fully paying attention to the other person. So sometimes I talk with the people and sometimes I just overheard them or not heard them properly. That's not called listening because I may be using the phone sometimes, and it been happen to you guys with too. So and then I realized that I had missed important details or misunderstood what they meant really. So yeah, that also create the misunderstanding. So if you don't hear the people correctly or don't listen them, that also create the misunderstanding, or like you make your mistakes after, even if, and you have to ask them to repeat, which I don't like to ask them again. So and it taught me that listening takes efforts, not just hearing words. So thinking about someone in your life who is really good listener. So what do they do that makes you feel comfortable talking to them? Maybe they make eye contact, don't interrupt, or ask a question about what you're saying if they're really listening to you. So those small actions show they care about the conversation. So yeah, if people think that they are listening to you, they are really makes that effort, and you feel like they are paying attention to your conversation, and which also helps to make the conversation more helpful or like a more productive. So according to communication expert like Ronald Adler, Russell Proctor, and Lawrence Rosenfeld, author of that Looking Out and Looking In, listening is an active process that involves receiving, understanding, remembering, and then evaluating and responding to the messages. So, in other words, good listening is much more than staying quiet while another person talks. So, like, it's not like completely quiet. Sit quietly when you listen somebody, but that's also the part of the listening. So you, when other person talks and you don't interrupt in between and just listen them quietly, that makes the difference too. And then another source I found while researching this topic is the Mayo Clinic. Um, their communication tips explain the active listening, includes like paying full attention, avoiding distractions, asking questions, and showing interest through both words and body language. And this habit helps improve communication and reduce misunderstanding. Um, and one example of poor listening happens in everyday conversations. Imagine your friend tells you they had a bad day at work, and before they finish explaining, you interrupt and start talking about your day, your own day. How was your own day? So even if you didn't mean to be rude to your friend, may feel like the feeling don't matter. So like if you interrupt them, they feel like they don't even care if I have a bad day, so like that. So you listen without interrupting and ask how they feeling, and let them finish before you respond. That also a productive listening. um, that simple difference can make someone feel supported and understood. um, and also, listening is also important in school. When we really listen during class, we understand the material better and ask better questions. At work, also, it helpful. Listening carefully helps prevent mistakes and build trust with the co-workers. At home, also, listening can strengthen relationship between people, and they feel respected and valued if you listen them. So I have one simple activity for you guys. Hold up one finger if you have ever interrupted someone before they finish talking, because I did that. So I'm holding my finger, and keep your finger up if you have ever caught yourself checking your phone while someone was talking to you. I know I have, and I did it so many times, but this activity reminds us that everyone can improve their listening skill. So, so those are the good habits for listening. So there are like five different habits of good listener. So what the good listeners do though, so they make eye contacts with each other, put away all the distractions like phones, other talkings like that. Don't interrupt with each other when they talking to each other. They ask questions and they show empathy. Um, and these habits don't take much effort, but they can completely change the quality of your conversation. And one thing that surprised me while learning about listening is that many communication problems happen because people assume they understand instead of actually listening. Sometimes people are not looking for advice. They simply want someone to hear them and understand how they feel. So, as I finish, I wanted to leave you with one final question. The next time someone start talking to you, will you simply hear their words or will you truly listen? Because listening is one of the simplest way to show respect, kindness, and care for another people or person. We may not remember every conversation we have, but people usually remember how we made them feel. So by becoming better listener, we can improve our relationship, avoid misunderstanding, and become better communicator in every part of our lives. So thank you for listening to me and have a great day.